Right then, we are live here for Singapore. Apologies for what you had to deal with for the past half an hour there, but we are back. I'm certainly back anyway. Hopefully Singapore is a lot better than China, please. Otherwise I'm going to have my head in the wall. But joining me in the commentary box for this hour and for the next couple of hours at least, I believe, is we got Dan back again. Daka, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Jess, and yeah, I watched that China race with my head in my hands. It was quite a mess. Thankfully, the results actually were correct in the end on your end, so
Yeah.
the confusion somewhat alleviated, but it was still certainly a little bit scrappy. Hopefully, this one runs smooth. We are here at Singapore. Probably one of the most technically demanding tracks that these guys are going to have to put up with tonight. So with a full 50% race in front of us, let's get into it.
Yeah, one of the longest races on the calendar in the 24 hours of F1. And unsurprisingly, a few people have chosen to have 3 seconds off in today's Singapore race. So we got Esports Wales who have chosen to do their 3 seconds off in this race, as well as IRT of, I think, Mixer in this lobby. And we got ERT, who's going to be starting last in Singapore. So those are your wild cards, I think, today. So we will get started and go on board with someone that the game choose to, or we'll go on something very, very close. We were meant to go on board with Connor, but let's go on board with Ryan, because you always seem to go on board with the Hasses anyway. First used in the Formula 1 scene back in 2008. We had Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton won a few times, obviously Max Verstappen as well. The safety cars made at least one appearance in every Singapore Grand Prix held today as he heads towards turn number 5 now as he heads through this back straight here, this DRS straight as well. It'll help if I get my telemetry right. There we go. As you head towards turn 7, plenty of overtaking opportunities going through turn 7 and Memorial Corner, heading towards past Stanford, and then heading towards Padang of turn 9. You're going to be heading towards the old Singapore Sling coming up, which I absolutely like as well. And it's named after the city-state's favourite cocktail, believe it or not. Chacha could be very good around here as you head towards turn number 12. A lot of people can invalidate by crashing into a wall through here. Very blind apex as you go through turn 13 at least, heading towards Connaught as well as you go through another long straight as well. It's very enjoying in real life. They lose so much, they have a lot of sweat they tend to gain through here as well, but in real life I can't bear imagine what the drivers will be thinking, obviously. Quite a few invalidations already. Obviously we had one from AJ who got disqualified. Connor's invalidated his run. We got a battle for the front between Smokey and Izzo at the moment. Obviously, Izzo won the last race in China. We got Ryan coming towards the final corner for QRT, turns 22 and 23. And it is a 137.5 for him. But pole was a 136.018 from VSR Smokey. Good lap from him. Izzo not that far behind. We could see a nice battle between the two of them.
Yeah, that's a very encouraging, just a few hundredths of a second separating those two at the top, and certainly very competitive in behind as well. So hopefully we are going to be seeing a good fight up the front, and hopefully nice and clean as well. So we'll get the results to you in just a minute. Smokey it is on that pole position, and I'll tell you, having commentated on 2 races with him, and he could have easily won both of those races. Right up there is just behind in second place. Then we have Nico 3rd, Felix 1 and 4th from Blizzard. That is a high quality with Per Roger there. 4th ends covering the top 6, and that is, as I said, a high quality top 6. Then it's Benji S, Drofta, of course, with the 3 seconds off as well, so keep an eye out there. Ryan and Jerome round out the top 10. Then Harry Noirg, Charlie Harris, Riskkeeper, I think, Riskkeeper.
I don't know.
Tiramisu, J. Cole, Mick, who's also got 3 seconds off. We saw Dylan, AJ Wuhan, and Connor invalidate or crash out their laps. AJ by 24, starting from the back for Team ERT. That is your grid for Singapore, a race usually devoid of overtaking, but we'll see how things unfold as we load in. We're going to get this one started.
Yeah, we should be loading into it very shortly, as I was saying, but obviously since it is a long race, the tyre wear can be a massive factor around here. The softs don't last at all, so if I were you, do not use the softs too much. Save it for either the beginning or the end of the race. Usually I say it for the beginning just to get it out of the way pretty much, but the mediums and the hards will be used more often, of course, than not. Around about 9/10 difference between the softs and the mediums. The hard is 1.8, so not as much as the last game. I know the game says you can run it for 9 laps. Tyre temperatures speak a different story. It only lasts like 3 or 4 laps, but again, obviously, we have to wait and see as we're about to go underway. No formation lap, of course, because otherwise we would be here for hours. So we are in a new lobby, which is great to see. So hopefully, touch wood, no desync, and hopefully the lobby host stays exactly where they are. So the 5 red lights will be coming on soon. Here we go. 5 red lights. Red Bull and Alfa Romeo on the front row. Who's going to get the best start? Well, it is lights out and away we go. And it's a good start from the AlphaTauris at the back, but it's a good start for Smokey as he it stays ahead of it. They're heading towards turn 1. Nikostos has a good start as well. Quite a few mishaps in towards turn 2 and 3 as well, as they all go. The sweeping left-hander coming up now, heading towards turn number 4 now. We saw Felix 1 getting past Ben there up into P6 as well. Harry's had a good start as well for LOE. SF1L or Peter Rogers had a good start as well, up into 8th place. AJ is up to 60th, but 50th. There's too many AJs in this lobby. A bit of a love tap from Jaco and Ryan, it looks like, but I think the main battles are happening in the background as well. Everyone else seems to be getting away scot-free. Speaking of tyres though, out of the top 10 at least, only Blizzard has gone for the soft tyres.
And Per Roger on the hards. They're the 2 outliers. Everyone else inside that top 10 going for the medium, which is probably what I would have went for. It's the safe bet. Blizzard in P4 though, that means that the overtakes are going to have to come early. You mentioned Jekyll and Ryan. Those 2 are fighting it out into the hairpin at turn 13, and through it goes Jekyll. Few swaps of places further down. I think Ridscaper's gone off. Dylan was off earlier on in the race as well. AJ Wuhan and Connor battling out. Connor, who was on for pole position, I think, before crashing out on his lap. Danny Inside gets in a 16th place. He's on softs. He's going to try and work his way through the order. So the tyre strategies are going to play themselves out. As you'll so often see, it is Smokey leading Izza, Nico P3, a bit of a gap opening up, and Blizzard, who we think is going to be the one to watch in these early laps. The soft tyres, as you mentioned, go off quick, so if you're running them, you've got to make them work in these opening few laps. Yeah, definitely, and that's why I think Blizzard's got to get past Nikostos as soon as he can, and you can see the predicted pit stop strategy for the 2-stop medium soft is probably what a lot of drivers will be going through today. A few drivers have gone for first stops already. Connor and Riskkeeper having a bit of a mare at the moment. Connor's on the set of the soft tyres with Riskkeeper and the other Ferrari on the medium compound tyres. We'll watch Blizzard using his ERS, 46% at the moment. We'll see if he can get past the Haas, tip the car, or is he going to stay behind? He's staying behind at the moment. There's yellow flags happening everywhere. There is an Alpine that's gone off, which I believe was our teammate. Yes, it was our teammate that had a bit of a spin. So Riskkeeper is trying to catch up there as the top 5 go relatively unscathed. Blizzard has broken free from DRS from Felix, so at least he's able to battle in a very good battle between himself and Nikostos at the moment. Battle for the lead though is getting interesting. 5/10 of a second, now 3/10 of a second, separating the guys at Visual Esports and Isaac's Kush in P2. Now, both VSR and Isaac's team have won a race in this 24-hour. I think they're going to try and get one off. Excuse me, one off each other here. I've got a bad cough in this event. I do apologise. Yellow flag. That is QRT that has found a bit of a spin, Ryan. Yeah, QRT Ryan with a bit of a setback early on in this race. The battle up the front, though, is certainly one to keep your eye on. Felix 1 has managed to get himself back in de facto DRS range. It gets activated on this lap with Smokey leading the line. Few gaps opening up. Ben GS has been distanced. Drofta repping back as well per Roger on the hards, trying to match it, and it hasn't done a bad job considering the hard tires will be hard to switch on, but eventually now they should be up to temperature and good to go. Nikosos is going to come under pressure, I think, from Blizzard, heading up towards Memorial Corner. There's no DRS for the man in P3 at the moment, and Blizzard's going to try and get a run, but there's a very short braking zone into turn 7, so you have to be pretty much up and alongside, and Blizzard unable to do so. So right now, the soft tires not quite working right now. The gap's still beginning to open up. Smokey, now that he's got clean air pretty much for the first time in any of the races so far, leads away from Izzat. Both those guys with a good amount of battery, whereas the two behind him, Nikosos and Blizzard, struggling relatively speaking, Jess. Those two have pretty much completely drained their battery. Those front two looking very confident and pacey up at the front.
And I think all of this is allowing Felix to be in this train as well, which is not the good news if you're Blizzard or Nikosos at this moment in time. And we just had another incident. Team Humburger is not doing very well in the steward's office at the moment. They've got another penalty, -3 championship points for Jan Tripkov for incident with Nolan at China. So yeah, the only instance we had so far, and Team Humburger have lost 6 points due to it. So yeah, not ideal if you're that team. You got to bounce back if I were you. They may not agree with it, but they just have to forget about it, focus on the rest of the session, and yeah, I'm trying to find out which one. I think it's the team that Yax is racing in at the moment. So yeah, I wonder if the team will choose to feed the penalty in their ears at the moment. If I were them, I wouldn't, because it would let them distract, unfortunately. But yeah, there is some apologies in the chat. That's good. All good. We can forget about that incident and focus on the rest of the race. And I hope we don't get any more, because it's for charity, for goodness sake. Blizzard, by the way, you can see how the tyres are dropping off, by the way, on those softs. He's already losing time to Nikosos in P3. So yeah, he needs to get off those softs as quick as he can. He's already in danger of losing a potential position to Felix.
Yeah, but of course, the DRS train is not going to be helping Felix at all. Blizzard still has DRS to defend, both him and Nikosos, though, as we mentioned, completely devoid of battery. Smokey, though, his pace looks exceptional. He's managed to distance Izzat by just over 1 second. Izzat is, well, slightly lower in terms of the battery as well, so we'll not get used to it. Just trying to deploy that down the straight, work back into that DRS and keep this fight for the front alive. But Smokey's pace up the front, phenomenal as it stands. You can see some gaps beginning to open up early doors here. Singapore, of course, such a long race, already got the first penalty. That's with Skipper, who hasn't had an easy start, it must be said, to the Singapore Grand Prix, dropping back, and then a penalty to add to his troubles. Blizzard now beginning to slip from Nikosos, so I think that first pit stop will be coming soon. We've already seen some early pit stops, Connor and Dylan further down the field. Don't expect it from the median runners just yet, but I think Singapore, a track that's difficult to overtake, strategic pit stops could come in very early here, and Blizzard predictably is going to dive in.
Yeah, not that surprising, to be honest. He was going to hope to get past Nikosos, but he did not. But at least it gets his first stop out of the way, and he can go on two mediums to the end, and that's one different tyre compound out of the way as well. He's going to be 15th for now, but don't forget, he was the one and only person out the front runners to make his first pit stop, and that's the danger of still being on the soft. So that's a bit worrying. If you want to do a medium soft strategy, you probably have to wait until lap 27, 28 to go into the pits, but at least they don't have to worry about any safety cars at this moment in time, as Rest Keeper has gone ahead of him, but surely Blizzard is going to get past him as well. Meanwhile, Jerome in the Aston Martin has got past Harry there, up to 8th place as well, but Harry could challenging at him as he heads towards sector 2 of turn 8 as well. Very technical part of the circuit. We're only on lap 5 as well, so it's very brave for these guys to be the second hardest race on the calendar, obviously apart from the wet race in Portugal, is definitely Singapore. So the ones who have got this are definitely doing a solid job just to try and keep it on the walls. Not much battles happening up front though, unless you're Drop Dust. I have to say, this is the best performance I've seen from Esports Wales in a while. It's about time to get some of their quick drivers in and try and get some solid points. Obviously they did well in Australia as well with Colin, so they are backing it up here in Singapore, of course. Did not do well in China, but Droftas is looking to make sure Esports Wales gets some more points, and he's definitely doing it a good job up in P6 and chasing down Ben on pace for P5.
Yeah, those two running in tandem at the moment there. P5, P6 on the track at the moment as they cross the line to start lap 6. Everything's starting to spread out further up the line. We've got J. Cole up behind Harry Noirg. That's going to be, I imagine, a pass down the straight. Harry Noirg has burned through the ERS, looks to have burned through the tyres as well, and it's an easy move for J. Cole down in turn 1. So that is, in the end, I believe that team dropping back through the order. J. Cole moving up though for Team 4S and up into 9th on the track. We've got a spinner further down the road. I think that is our Team Mick who's gone off heading out of turn 1, and yeah, it has been, to be completely honest, a very mixed event so far for the international racing team that Mick represents. On those softs as well, that early stint has not worked out at all, so a few mishaps already further down the field. A big train then in that midfield as AJ Wuhan has gone past Charlie Harris in the background there. So as things are very bunched up, even at a track where it's difficult to overtake, these drivers just looking for any which way to catch each other out. At a track like Singapore, you need to potentially to overtake, do something unexpected that the driver in front isn't going to see coming. That's how you can progress here.
Yeah, and especially with the top half of the field and the standings being so close, if you have a bad race, then that's it. It may cost you for the rest of this one, and it may be hard for you to bounce back and take the championship in this 24 hours. So, and with Umberger losing potentially 6 points, it's going to be the likes of QVR and BSR. They could catch up. SF1L as well. Obviously, Team NXX didn't have a good race in China, so it's their chance to bounce back at the moment, but they're not doing that as well at the moment down in P19. So it's just all so close, but at least I think pretty much all of the teams in this top 10 have made at least one mistake. So, yeah, plenty of chances for people lower down to potentially gain some good points as well. Maybe CSL potentially as well, as Charlie Harris almost got past Wuhan as well, up to 13th place, as Connor has got past Mick. As unsurprisingly, Mick has come in out of those soft tyres onto a set of mediums, and I believe that is his first stop. Yeah, it is his first stop out of the way. I'm quite surprised he was on those tyres for that long, to be honest, because that's probably why he had that spin.
Charlie Harris is lining up. AJ Wuhan heading into turn at number 8, decides not to go for the move though. They're all stacking up behind Harry Noirg here, who runs 10th, holding everyone back for the moment, and a bit of a train forming just outside of that top 10. Everyone eager to try and move their way up the line should the opportunity present itself. So early pit stops we've just seen but 4. That's Blizzard, Connor, Dylan and Mick, who have all dived into the box early doors here at Singapore, but things fairly static at the moment, very difficult to find your way through, and these guys, I imagine, on the medium, which is probably the best race tyre overall, will be looking to, in general, be extending this stint potentially for a little bit longer. So they're potentially going to stay out. Maybe some drivers will pit early to try and gain some track position, but really everyone's going to be very misaligned. We've seen the soft runners come in already, but you could see the medium tyres being used for a little while longer.
Yes, I've got the strategies here on my trusty Google. Not Google, but my my spreadsheet that I made for this event. 17 laps the mediums can last for around this track. So they can go lap 17 if they want to, but they will have to pit quite a few more times. So they may want to do 2 medium stints and 1 soft stint, maybe 1 medium stint, 1 hard stint, 1 soft stint. Oh, it's someone's had a bit of an off. That is AJ down in 13th position. As we got the Red Bull of Charlie Harris has now gone past him at this moment in time. So what can AJ do then from ERT? Had a bit of a mixed bag, but there has been some races where they performed very well. 3 wide almost heading towards turn 7 with the Alpine of Harry and CRL, AJ and Charlie Harris as well. That's quite a nice midfield, I have to say, and yeah, that can get quite spicy before the pit stops. They really got to come into some clear air really, so some people may want to pit early to get some clear air before obviously some of the other guys go into the pits, but I feel sorry for CRL Wuhan at the moment because he's stuck in that big sandwich. He's got a few cars in front of him, a few cars behind him. He doesn't know what to do, but he's going to be under pressure from Charlie now, heading towards the start of Sector 3. Nope, he is not. He's staying behind. But I'm looking at the battery usage at the moment. We've got the guy in 12th who's got 25% left. Harry's got 8 to 10% left. Charlie Harris has got about 60. And AJ for ER City is only running 13%. So quite a mixed bag, but the driver in P13 has got the most and will probably gain from this.
You would think so, and he has looked the most likely of making an overtake as well in this train, Charlie Harris, who I think could potentially have more pace than what this train is showing. AJ does dive apparently a terrible lap, I think, just generally so. That pit stop probably a way of just getting out of that rut. We'll see what the tyre strategy is going to be, because I think even with a 2-stop, looking after the tyres is going to be adamant, and he is actually going to go for the soft, which is interesting. We'll see how that's going to work out. Ryan is on and off, heading out of turn 3, and Blizzard will sail on by, heading out turn 5. Oh my word, they nearly come together as Ryan tried to recover. Just about managing to avoid contact there, though. Blizzard does get through, trying to eat into that clean air that he has to use to the group in front. He's obviously trying to get an undercut on the net race leader. Still Smokey, who leads nearly 3 seconds clear of Izzat. The pace from Smokey has been simply phenomenal and has just pulled clear of everyone else. Nikosos is also looking to try and get up towards Izzat, who seems to be struggling a bit more on the tyres after a great start to the race. So the gaps have opened up a little bit amongst those top 4, then a bit of a gap down to BenGS and Dropdash. Still run together. These two cannot be separated at the moment. They run a few seconds in front of Per Roger, the leading hard runner, who's being tracked by Giron. So that is how things seem to be able to stand near the front of the race. A few gaps opening up, still some battles going on, and right now, for the most part, the medium runners still deciding to extend this stint for as long as possible.
I think they've got to, really, because then they can really push towards the end of the race on the last mediums that they have as well. Or maybe they want to do a small soft stint, maybe coming up next, and then just get their 2 stops done nice and early. I don't know. I'm not the best person in terms of strategy. Obviously, it's up to the drivers. And there's certain drivers who really need to gain from this, because there's some of their drivers did not do well in the last event. So if I was Smokey, what would you do? You got the least to lose at this point, because you got a 3.3 second gap. You could come in whenever you like, really, but there is a threat of losing to the undercut. But we don't know what is more powerful around it. It does depend on the guys around you if they do not get caught in traffic. And for those of you that are wondering how to donate, you could donate to the British Heart Foundation and or the Brain Tumor Research by clicking on the images on the left-hand side of the Twitch screen, and you can donate so far. So far we are on £589.59 for British Heart Foundation. For Brain Tumor Research, we're on £229.20. So we're around about £700, £800 though overall, which I have to say is very, very good indeed. As we're heading towards lap 10 of 31. Well, lap 11 of 31 soon as well. Smokey still keeping his cool there up front. But I think the one that could get the move done soon is Dropdash from Esports Wales versus Ben, not from QVR, because QVR's team Mercedes. I'm trying to remember what team Ben is in. But there we go. It is confusing at times, because some people are not representing the esports team they're actually in. They're representing a different team. So, yeah, it's quite hard at times, but obviously we'll get through it. But yeah, Dropdash looking good so far as well. But yeah, we'll see the pit stop very soon.
Yeah, esports teams can be quite deceptive. BenGS is racing with Team CSL, just to clarify then. Leading from the Esports Wales driver of Dropdash, so that has looked like making that move, but has that battery disadvantage, which makes the overtake so much more difficult to achieve. Charlie Harris is round out of the final corner after we've kept saying looks likely to overtake. Izzat gets a penalty near the front of the race, which ultimately, right now, is dropping him all the way down to 4th. So penalties, well, you won't generally see too many of them at Singapore. They can happen and they can hinder you. So Izzat picking up 1 and 2 drivers in range, looking to try and benefit from that. So Izzat, after nearly getting pole, nearly getting the race lead off the start as well, just the pace hasn't quite came through. So I think if there's any driver out of the top 4 that's going to pit early, it will be Izzat, just to try and get a new stint going. But of course, you've got to be careful with your timing of your pit stop, because if you get out in traffic, working your way through that traffic is going to be very difficult to do.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I did my race earlier, when I was stuck with a lot of traffic, I lost a lot of time through it. So it was better, I think, to get through clear air, in my opinion. If you are the likes of the ones who got that time penalty, Done the yellow flag. Oh, that's Ryan. That's how the moment again in turn number 6. So he's down in last place at the moment. He is the wooden spoon in this race. Meanwhile, Nikosos is in the pit lane. And that is its first stop? Yeah, it is his first stop. The first of the lead runners to come in. I didn't think he was going to be the one to come in first, but he wants to draw the straws first and trigger the pit stops. He's on to set up the hard compounded tyres, so I'm guessing he doesn't want to touch those softs.
Not for the time being, at the very least, and trying to do a lengthy stint in the middle of this race. Clean air is it so important when you come out the pits. There will be a bit of clean air, but not much. And look at where Blizzard has come out. Remember, Blizzard pitted very early onto the mediums from the softs. Has managed to get the jump on the Kossos, but is now stuck behind traffic. That's Harry Noir and AJ Wuhan up the road in front, and this is where things can get very interesting there. Blizzard getting held up. AJ Wuhan for the move on Harry Noir. Goes down the left-hand side towards Memorial Corner, and you can see Blizzard trying to line it up. Harry Noir trying to hold it around the outside, get an inside line in a turn 8, and they are level onto the brakes. Harry Noir gets back in front, and now here comes Blizzard to the outside in a turn 9. Can he sweep the long way round? Yes, he can with the extra grip. Blizzard gets moved on, and AJ Wuhan, after looking for the move, ends up losing a place in the end. And Blizzard looking to get very opportunistic up behind Harry Noir. Harry Noir has been holding up drivers all the way throughout this race and struggling on old tyres. Down the inside goes Blizzard. Tries to get it stopped and turned in. Better contact between them. Harry Noir bounces off the wall, and now they're side by side down the straight. Harry Noir gets a tuck out of AJ. Wow, with a huge lunge in a turn 14. Taps Blizzard. Blizzard almost goes around, and there's 3 cars with a blanket over them. Blizzard gets out in front. AJ Wuhan with an audacious lunge. Loses out to Harry Noir right outside, and they make contact as Harry Noir loses the back end. Now here comes Nikosos on the scene on those hard, that he's trying to get up to temperature. Absolute mayhem, and it's mayhem in the pit stops at the end of the lap as a whole host of drivers dive to the pit lane, 6 in all. But my oh my, Jess, what a battle out there on track. They're a bit bad-tempered, it must be said. Blizzard came through that, and AJ Wuhan and Harry Noir were in the wars all the way throughout that lap.
Blizzard was losing quite a lot of time that he shouldn't have done, and you've already spoke about the fact that you have to come into clear air, otherwise you experience things like that. And he's already lost time to the likes of Smokey as well, so that's not ideal if you're Blizzard trying to battle for the win of this race. But yeah, because in that battle, no one else in that train pretty much has made their first stop yet, apart from Izza. And Izza is stuck in that train as well, and he was also battling for the lead of this race, so he's lost a chunk of time just by obviously pitting earlier than expected. So the undercut is more powerful around this track because you gain so much more time. But will Blizzard lose later on, obviously, when he comes, he does his next stop. Well, he could go on the mediums, he doesn't have to go on the hards. That's the beauty of him starting on those soft compounded tyres. And the Kossos on those hard tyres, it takes about 3 laps around this track to get temperature. So he's not going to able to try and get in this fight yet, but he's just playing it a bit too aggressive sometimes as well. You just got to wait for your tyres to warm up, then go for the move, because otherwise more incidents can happen. Charlie Harris, by the way, picked himself a penalty. He's down in the P18 at the moment, as Roger has missed his braking point through start of Sector 3. He's down to P13. Jacob's right on the back of this as well.
It is a pandemonium out there in Singapore at the moment. I think that Izzat must have been held up in the pits because he dropped behind Felix 1. They pitted on the same lap. Tiramisu comes into the pit lane. Nikosos being dropped, just doesn't quite have the raw pace on those hard tyres once the mediums are now up to temperature. Blizzard jumped these guys, but you can see the lack of pace that he has with the tyre disadvantage, and Felix 1 will be fancying a chance of getting that move done and moving himself up the order further down the line. So watch out for the for the AlphaTauri man to get that way through and behind Blizzard. Smokey though has a monstrous advantage out in front now. That gap has continued to extend and right now looks very dominant. Ryan's had another off that has just turned into an absolute nightmare for QRT Ryan in the end. Per Roger and AJ are going at it further down the order then, and AJ trying to hold it running outside of 7. Per Roger running outside of it, squeezed into the wall, and they come together. I think they might have got away without damage. J. Cole is now right on this as well. So a big scrap down there between those three. Yeah, they did come together into the wall of turn 8, but I think they've just about managed to get away without damage, at least to my eyes at the very least. So they managed to get away with that one. AJ trying to hold on with the old softs. They'll be going off at this stage. Not knowing where to look now, right now, Jess. After a very calm opening to the race, the strategies have thrown everything up in the air here.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going on. There's still stuff going on as well. As AJ almost getting past Per Roger there. As AJ's got to get past soon, because these sort of softs are starting to die. As Smokey set the fast lap of this race, as Jerome has done his first pit stop. So Smokey now leads from Blizzard. Don't forget, Isaac was in P2. He was jumped by both Blizzard and Felix. And Felix now going to chase down Blizzard for P2. Who would have expected this at this moment in time? Don't forget, all assists, by the way, are enabled, apart from obviously the braking assist and steering assist. So who would use those in a 24-hour race? As Felix, by the way, down the inside into turn 7. He's going to hold his line. Maybe he'll try and cut back on the outside. Felix does get past Blizzard. So I wonder if Blizzard's tyres are really starting to go quickly. And that is worrying if you're also on those medium tyres for that long and want to do a long stint later on. So Blizzard and Felix are definitely the benchmark at the moment. And we have another spin of that time. It's Charlie Harris that's had a bit of a moment. So that's Ryan. He's up a position.
Yeah, but it is down there at the back of the field. Mistakes galore, it must be said then. Very difficult, of course, here at Singapore. I think Charlie Harris has gone round again. Now Blizzard is being lined up by Izzat, who tries to switch to the inside, finding any sort of space. They make contact in a turn 14. Blizzard out the way, just about manages to keep it out the wall. Now Nikosos is going to slot through as well. Blizzard will not be happy with that. He tried to cover the inside. Izzat tried to force his way into that gap, and that's where the contact happened. I think there may well be a steward's inquiry regarding that one, but nevertheless, for the moment, Izzat gets through Nikosos, and then Blizzard out there on track. And I think Blizzard, Connor, who pitted extremely early, I think on the first couple of laps at the very least, still out there, and now he's going to dive in for what will be his second pit stop, which will surely be for the hards. Maybe we'll see the mediums, but that would be a bit of a stretch, it must be said, in terms of the tyre life. We will see how that's going to unfold. So Smokey leads, Felix 1, Izzat, then Nikosos. Connor does come in. We'll see what the tyre choice is, as we're getting towards the second phase of pit stops for some drivers, but there is quite a bit of an offset. Connor is going to put on the mediums, and that's going to be quite an effort to get them to the end of the race, but we will see. AJ has also come in, so that's 2 drivers now serving their second pit stop. Everyone will, of course, need to do one at some point to fill that pit stop quota, but at the moment it looks as though things are finally starting to settle down out there on track, with Smokey leading by some margin, but behind, the battles are far from over.
Well, I'm just worried that hopefully you haven't spoken too soon at the moment, as we got Connor and AJ having a bit of a moment, and Connor's broken his front wing. So yeah, that's a commentator's curse saying that not much is going to happen at this point, and something has happened with Colin got 0 front wing and has to pit again. So there we go. As Ryan, unsurprisingly, has retired, but not in the pit lane. He's binned it. So that's not good news for your QRT, because they have missed a few races. Charlie Harris has gone for a little bit of a spin. I thought he was going to do a donut there, but obviously he did a donut. Wasn't going to do a donut, but he spun. More yellow flags happening at the moment. Luckily, no safety cars, of course, as Charlie Harris is definitely struggling. He's going to get a penalty, if not a warning, by looks of things, the way he's doing. But yeah, quite a lot has happened, I think, just by this lap alone, I think, with a few people making mistakes. But don't forget, a lot of these drivers, it's not been their first race, with some drivers having a team which has only a few drivers in. They have to do more races than quite a lot of drivers. A lot of drivers have a lot of members. They can only race 2 races if they wanted to. There's quite a few drivers that are racing 4 or 5 races this event, so it must be tiring for them, but they got to get their head into gear, as Smokey has lapped Charlie Harris, I believe. Yes, he has. Still in P1. We got Jerome and Droftas on for a little bit of a scrap as Jerome has passed Droftas up into P7. The soft compound tyre advantage definitely going into Jerome's favour in that Aston Martin. But again, that will die around 2 laps, maybe lap 3 or lap 4. But yeah, good move there as well. Let's see if we can catch Ben for P6.
Yeah, Jerome for the Humble Squad trying to make the most of this medal stint of the race. One of the only drivers that has opted for that soft compound tyres. As I mentioned, he is racing for the Humble Squad, and I have to say, there is nothing more humble than calling yourself humble.
Indeed, indeed.
So, yeah, Jerome is going to try and go on the charge there. Ben GS next up the road has run a very quiet but solid race in P6 for the moment. I was going to say things are settling down, but yeah, I don't think I can bank on that at any point. We saw Connor and AJ Wuhan coming together. Both of those guys have had to go in for a set of the hard tyres. And Connor, for Connor, that is actually a 3rd stop of the race. So that incident right after the 2nd pit stop means that ultimately, well, what has been a nightmare day for him so far, that is going to mean he is forced to do one more stop than what the quota actually requires. So not optimal at all for NSX Connor. AJ Wuhan, that will be treated as his final pit stop. So there are now a handful of drivers that have served that stop. The highest stop at the moment is AJ by 24. So we'll see where that is going to end up. Most of the guys, of course, further up the field, just 1 stop. So we'll see where everyone is going to go, when everyone is going to go in. I think the first driver to come in will probably be Blizzard, who has done a very long stint on those mediums. As I think I saw someone leave the session. I didn't see exactly who.
That was Ryan Beast DNF, so it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. So far, touchwood, we had no one leave the session in this lobby. So that is good. That is good. So I think it just goes to show we need a PC host every time, because every time we do not have a PC host, that's when the lobby starts to go. So yeah. So that because it's been a bit more stable, touchwood, at the moment. It's on lap 18 of 31, halfway through this race so far. And after Singapore, by the way, we have got, let me check, I believe it's Belgium up next. Yes, it is Belgium. Very exciting. Should be fun. That's when I'll probably go try and get some sleep, but probably won't, because I probably won't end up waking up in time for my stints tomorrow. As Blizzard, you did say he was going to come into the pits, but I didn't think it was going to be this soon.
Well, in comes Blizzard indeed, driving in that Ferrari. So we'll see, he's going to put on another set of the mediums. That should do him to the end of the race. Girona's come in as well after a very short stint on the soft. So now we are seeing, really, amongst the contenders up at the front, the final pit stops now begin to take shape, and we will see where everyone will end up. And that's where they're going to start their fight towards the flag to see where the points are going to be awarded. There are no double points on offer at this race, it must be said, as Blizzard is going to come out right behind Harry Noirg, and Harry Noirg just emerges in front, so Blizzard will be a little bit annoyed at that one. Will look to try and get through as quickly as possible. So Blizzard is going to go on the offensive here, you would think. Now in the DRS with the ERS as well. Big closing speed up towards Memorial Corner. It's going to go to the inside, and I don't think there's going to be much contest. Blizzard slots through on Harry Noirg through turn 7, takes P10 on the road, and now has a good bit of clean air up towards Tiramisu up in front, try and drive into. So Blizzard will go on the move. We'll see how the reactions are. I think there were a few gaps there. He was up behind Nikossos, who runs 4th at the moment, is at P3. Felix 1 still holding down that P2, and Smokey way out in front in P1 at the moment. We'll see, of course, there could still be errors. Singapore is a track that punishes small mistakes, so that is certainly possible. At the moment, we don't see much reaction from anyone up at the front, so we'll just have to wait and see for most of the pit stops. It's Droftas is going round, heading out. I think that's out of turn 16, so recovers the car. Was sat right behind Ben GS for the entire race. Recovers the car, but that's going to drop him all the way down. Behind at the moment, Tiramisu on penalties, but the 3 seconds actually cancels that out, so still running P8 net possession, but after a great run, yeah, that mistake. I said Singapore punishes small mistakes, and we've seen another example of that there.
That is a shame. That is a shame as well, but still in P8, so still quite a bit to recover from this one as well. He's doing better than some other drivers as well, as Nikosos, I believe, is on his second and final stop. Yes, he is. So that is 2 stops for him. So basically the top 8, sorry, have not stopped. Neither has Harry in P11, neither has Reskeeper in P14. Everyone else has done their 2 mandatory stops. So just in case those of you that are jeffing or engineering, those are your stops out of the way. As Jax trying to get past Drofdas for P7. To be fair, that was almost contact, but Jax had to back off a little bit because otherwise it would have been another instant for Drofdas. And what could it be for Drofdas if he didn't spin? And that allowed J. Cole to go up to 6th place. So ideal for him. Now coming through this blind apex coming up as well. Plenty of chances for people to score some decent points coming up as well. And obviously for some of these drivers, it's their first race in a 24-hour. And despite Drofdas spinning, still doing a decent job holding up to the back of Jax Turismo, which I can't even say to save my life. So apologies if I get my names wrong, by the way. Ben's also had a good race up, by the way, for QRT, up to 4th place at the moment. So I'm sure the guys at QRT will be very happy about that, as Dylan gets past Reskeeper up to 14th. Surely he would gain advantage by doing his 2-stop already. Is anyone in the back going to go into the pits? We'll keep an eye on these guys. Harry isn't budging. What about Reskeeper? Well, he hasn't passed that yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But Smokey leads from 9.3 seconds over Felix. Izza in 3rd, Ben in 4th.
Yeah, that's how things stand near the front at the moment. So we'll see how that is going to unfold inside the last 11 laps of the Grand Prix now, which at Singapore is still an awful long way. So we'll still have a while before we reach the checkered flag for the down the order. Nikosos gets through on Tiramisu, gets that move done. And crucial now after going in early to get these overtakes, not to get held up by the traffic that he's encountering then at the beginning of this 3rd stint. So a lot of work to be done for Nikosos. Going to try and jump potentially up past Izzat. We'll see how that's going to unfold when the pit stops will eventually take shape. These guys, of course, may well be extending to go on softs at the end of the race because there's still some life left in those mediums that they're currently running at the moment. It looks like, for the most part, that seems to be the approach. We'll see if anyone's going to diverge from that. Looks like the top 3 out on track are still staying out. There is a bit of a gap back to BenJS, who, as you said, is running very nice, confidently, quietly in 4th place, being tracked by Per Roger. Then it's J. Cole, who's kind of shadowing those guys. So that could still be a battle near the end of the race, and the certain strategies can certainly unfold in different ways. Drofdas now trying to hold off Nikosos on the charge. Per Roger has gone in, so maybe that's not a driver that's going for a soft stint at the end of the race unless he wants to really stretch them. Nikosos now looking at Drofdas, turns on the battery and uses that DRS and is going to cruise through towards turn 1, get the move done up in a 6th place, managing to try and alleviate that time loss then somewhat. Blizzard is now coming up behind that as Per Roger is going to emerge behind Harry Noirg and also behind Jerome and possibly even behind AJ. I think he'll just come out in front. So now we're seeing the permutations of these final pit stops, Jess, and you're going to have to time that pit stop not only for the fastest theoretical strategy, but ideally you want to come out in clean air as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like Blizzard done on his 1st stint when he pitted. So, yeah, you don't want to be doing that. But luckily, Blizzard has got past Jax up to P8 at the moment. And now he's got Drofdas to contend with as well. And to be fair, I have to say this race has definitely gone better than China. So, thank you to all the drivers for keeping it clean in general and giving us a nice battle. So, fair play, as Reskeeper is in for is definitely his 3rd stop, or it might be his 2nd. Don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but he stopped anyway. That's it's his 2nd stop. Okay, it's his 2nd stop. That explains it there. Per Roger is in as well. Jerome tries to get past Harry on the fresher rubber, which he does, up to 10th place for Jerome there, doing very well, keeping it humble in 10th place. Sorry, I don't want to use too many puns in one stream, but I just said it, okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, the ones that have stayed out on these mediums for a long time, they're going to stretch out for the softs, but it's going to be around lap 27 before they do it, because otherwise they're going to be in exactly the same situation as Blizzard and lose out on a tyre wear and temperature in the first opening lap. So we will see. Like we said, anything could happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Blizzard now has caught up right to the back of Joftas. We'll see what he can do.
Getting that DRS now, he's got a little bit of battery to use, and it's going to be, I imagine, a fairly simple move on the inside of turn number 6. Yes, it is. So, Blizzard moving his way up, P7 at the moment, tracking the Kossos up through the order, still the top 5, yet to dive to that pit lane. I'm still thinking they are all going for softs and try and blast that stint right at the end. They won't get many good laps out of them, but those laps that are good, they will be flying. A tyre differential at Singapore is always monstrous at one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar for the grip of the tyres. So we'll see if there's going to be any sort of stops at the moment as they head on to lap 24. Smokey still controlling this race, can pretty much cruise at the moment, doesn't have to push, and the race win will still be his, granted any mistakes potentially being made. So we'll see how that is going to unfold at the moment. So we're waiting really now. This is a bit of a waiting game at this stage in the race, with the top 5 yet to dive to the pit lane. Benji S, Jekyll, the last of the cars in that order. There's still a big list of drivers though that are yet to make that second stop. Probably about half of the grid yet to come in for the second time. So we'll wait for that then until they all come in, and then we'll get a real picture as to where everyone stands. So still a bit of a loss of clarity. And the Kossos is the top driver that has made both pit stops ahead of Blizzard. And of course, those guys going for an undercut, so we'll see where they are relative to the other race leaders when they come in, I imagine, in just a couple of laps' time.
Yes, well, obviously Smokey has got that huge gap, so that can mean a lot into the grand scheme of things, as Per Rogers got past Harry up to 11th place. So him pitting a few laps earlier has probably benefited at the moment for the Williams team. Obviously, still some drivers still yet to pit anyway. I thought I saw someone spin there, but luckily no one was spinning. No retirement so far, so that is always good, with the likes of Charlie Harris still going despite being lapped, I believe, as Reskeeper is also still going, by the way. Always encourage to not give up and do not retire unless you can't control your retirement. I did see someone retire from the pits earlier, which is not good, because unless you have an emergency, there's not really much point. A lot of highlights in this race, and one other highlight is Felix doing so well. He's going into the pit. I assume he'll be going on to a Seb Softs, and Izza follows suit.
So those two dive in, and the ones to watch here are Nikossos and Blizzard, I think, in terms of the pit exits. So Felix 1 ran in P2. We'll see if he's still going to be in P2 as he emerges from the pit lane. Benji S is going to go in, but J. Cole is going to stay out, which could spice things up in terms of where he emerges then. Felix 1 is going to come out at the pit lane, almost side by side, just behind J. Cole, so that overtake is going to have to be done in the end. The Kossos did manage to get in front of Izzat on the undercut, but Izzat, of course, has a big tyre advantage. Izzat just in front of Blizzard then in that scrap, but they're all stacked up behind J. Cole as we've got down the field. Someone's gone off. I think that's Harry Warg, who has spun in a very familiar place at the final corner into the pit wall, and we'll try and recover that car. For very, very old friends of him, you will know that is not a new spin for the man. So J. Cole running in that P2. Smokey has a massive 35-second lead. Of course, he still has the pit, as does J. Cole, and that's going to free up Felix 1. But as he's sat up behind J. Cole without really being able to use those softs at the moment, it's keeping the Kossos close, and Felix 1 has to get this one done quickly to really get the most out of those tyres. He's got more battery to use, and I think he's going to deploy it, or is he going to? I think he's going to wait, actually, behind J. Cole. So losing time in this last sector, and I know that he's got a big tyre advantage over those behind, but really when you've got fresh soft tyres, it's going to be so frustrating being stuck behind a car. As Smokey in from the lead. Yeah,
Smokey in for his stop, and to be honest, with the gap he has, he could have pitted any time and still come out in the race lead, but he's going on to Seb soft tyres anyway. I'm sure J. Cole would follow suit. Remember, you have to do your 2-stop. If you don't, you will get a disqualification for your team and get no points. I'm sure J. Cole do not want to get disqualified, so he's in anyway. So that promotes Felix to P2. and he's probably glad that that's happened so far. So that just leaves Dylan, unless Dylan's already made his stop. No. Yes, Dylan has made his stop, and J. Cole and Turismo are the last ones to make their stops. So everyone has done their 2 stops. So is Harry as well, who's in 16th position. So, yeah, no disqualifications for this race.
Yep, good to see everyone fulfilling those 2 stops then on strategy, or in Corner's case 3 stops if you've had an incident just after coming out of the pits. So that was an unfortunate one, as now we're looking at Izzat with a lot of grip up behind the Kossos. Of course, does have a penalty, and so pulling a gap on the 3rd place man for Team Hamburger is going to be very, very crucial. So up behind right now, looking to try and force a move up towards turn 13. Maybe he's going to wait. You can see him using as much of that entry track as possible to get the exit, catapulting off of the hairpin. And I think he's going to fly past there. Maybe the Kossos can still contest this late on the brakes on the inside, but ultimately the extra grip of the soft will prevail. And Izzat gets in a P3, now looking to extend that gap. Blizzard will try and put pressure on the Kossos from behind, so those 2 run 4th and 5th on the track. Izzat, of course, as I mentioned, will try and extend to a 3-second gap to those behind. Charlie Harris is sort of in the way, a lap down. Is going to continue on, of course, ghosted, so hopefully that doesn't put off the others too much that are slotted in behind. Further back, Jerome has managed to get up to 6th with some good strategy work, I think, on the undercut. Gets in front of Per Roger, and Benji S and Jekyll, who stayed out longer for the softs, they're going to try and hunt them down. So that's another battle to look out for. So still plenty in play into the last 5 laps at Singapore. But don't forget, 5 laps at Singapore is still an awful long way. So we'll see how that's going to unfold in the dying stages of this race. The Singapore Grand Prix and the closing stages. At the moment, Smokey is clearing away at the front, but still much to be settled further back.
Probably the longest 5 laps of Singapore in any race so far at the moment. Has a yellow flag. What's that? Hopefully it's not a phantom yellow flag.
It may have been, because I did not see a yellow flag at all. So.
Okay, so it was a phantom yellow flag for me. Lovely jubbly. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that way, but we have to wait and see. And by the way, the ghosts are very distracting when I race, at least. So even if obviously ghosting's on, if you are lapped, try and move out of the way as quickly as you possibly can, because otherwise it distracts the ghosts, the ones that are trying to get past, to nowhere, and they lose so much time. So yeah, if you are lapped, please do so. That is my request on behalf of some drivers who get very annoyed if they're trying to lap a car that's obviously have slower pace than them at this moment in time. Lap 28 then, as Smokey comes across the line with Felix about to cross the line as well to start lap 28 as well. Right, I'll get position changes at the moment. AJ is going the most, up 7, with Jacob up 6. So those 2 doing a decent job so far. Hopefully at the end of this race we will get an update of the standings, because it might have changed quite a bit since obviously we last spoke. And we obviously, with Team Hamburger's penalties, it could make all the difference. Visible Esports could be up there as well. NLR's doing very well in this event as well. It's great to see teams you don't usually expect to be at the front. As a yellow flag, that is... Oh, don't say it's AJ. Don't say it's AJ. No, it's not AJ. It was...
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey. Oh, Smokey's lost it. We actually get a battle for the lead.
Does Smokey? I'm not sure if it was just a spin. Looks like he's managed to get away without damage, but the tyres are cooked. So all of a sudden, late drama. I said Smokey just had to cruise in without a mistake. Well, there's the mistake, and now Felix one is right in behind. So, and there's pretty much no difference in battery between them. They're both down on battery. Smokey's going to have to get these tyres back in an operating window, and all of a sudden, we've got to fight for the win, as you said. So here we go. Can Felix one apply the pressure here? The gap down to 0.6 of a second. I think Smokey is still struggling for rear grip, and through this last sector, it's going to be punished. Maybe there's a bit of damage because he's understeering potentially all the way around here. There's no visible damage, but Felix one looks much more confident. Sat potentially underneath this rear wing. Is he going to get this done quickly? Smokey has almost no grip. Felix One trying to draw alongside. They're side by side down the straight, but Smokey has a significant edge in straight line speed. Felix One much later on the brakes. They make contact, banging wheels through turn one. Felix One gives it up, but Smokey has nothing. You can see the car is washing out across the track surface. It's not turning in. So much understeer, probably oversteer as well. There's no grip. I think he must have damage. Either that or the tires are completely gone. But Felix One now trying to line it up inside the last 3 laps. Smokey with such straight line speed. Is Felix One going to send it? He doesn't. It's a short braking zone. He can't quite find the space to make the lunge. He's all over him though, and Izzat is closing in as well. So here we go, Smokey trying to recover, get back on pace. Felix One knows he needs to take advantage now, and he draws alongside out of turn 9 towards turn 10, trying to keep a nose alongside. He can't. Smokey straight line speed saves him again in a remarkable turn of events here. Can Felix One get it done? Up towards turn 13. Bides his time, sets himself up, he'll have DRS, but as we mentioned, Smokey with so much straight line speed, and I think still it's going to be out of reach, but he's held them up so much that all of a sudden, Izzat, despite the penalties, in on this, so 2.5 laps to go, and it's still all to play for.
Oh my goodness, bring it on. There's a Mercedes that's gone off. That's J. Cole that's gone off in turn 7, it looks like. No, not turn 7, it's turn 9 and 10. Get your corners right, Jess. But yeah, J. Cole's lost it as well, down into 12th place. So that promotes a few other drivers up as well. But let's watch this battle for the lead for the last few laps. Apologies about the sniffles. I've got a really bad cold. We'll just come back. But Felix could get down the inside of Smokey, heading towards turn number 1. Let's see if they can leave enough space this time. They make a bit of contact. Look who also is in the fight. We got the Red Bull of Isaac Kush in 3rd place. I know he's got that penalty, but who cares right now? It's a freeway fight. Oh, it's free of Smokey's made a mistake there. Thank goodness he still kept the car on the road. Smokey and Iz are going side by side right now. It's going to be free and pressed into turn 7. It's going to end horribly wrong for one of them. How did Smokey save that? I have to say fair play. And that's brought Nikossos into the picture. That's brought Blizzard back into the picture, to be honest. Bring it on. I am starting to lose my voice, but I don't care. And I've been told someone's been told in the chat, well, someone's told Felix in the chat to defend like a lion. I think he's definitely defending more like a lion at the moment. This is absolutely incredible.
Well, Felix One beat a line of Singapore, lap and a half to go there. Now Nikossos is lining up Smokey, and Blizzard is in the mix as well. Smokey's mistake after having a comfortable lead. Looks like he must have damage because the pace is completely gone after being in control of this race. Ultimately, it looks like it's not going to be. He might still be able to stay in range of Izzat's penalty, but at the moment there, that gap is opening up, and Nikossos and Blizzard will both look to try and capitalise here. So we're coming up to the final lap. Felix has the edge, and it looks like he's the odds-on favourite to win this one at the moment if he can just control that gap to Izzat in behind, who could have easily won this race as well. Nikossos now trying to pick up the run on Smokey, but we mentioned Smokey's straight line speed. Nikossos looking to the outside towards turn 1, sends it late on the brakes. Can he go all the way around the outside? They touch again, still trying to hold it alongside turn 3. They bang wheels again, and they're on the inside. Blizzard, they're going to be 3 abreast once again here with the AI in the pedal as well. Through they go, and round goes Nikossos, pinched onto the apex by Smokey, who did everything he can to defend it, maybe went a step too far. Blizzard now on the inside, finds the speed outside in the Memorial Corner, onto the brakes, trying to swing all the way up on the outside, and they almost touch again. Turn 8 now, locked together. Eventually Blizzard gets tagged, but forges ahead in the end. What on earth has went on there? Smokey maybe went a step too far. I'm not sure. They were almost 3 abreast with
up to the stewards.
Charlie's car. And Izzat, you say he's going to the stewards. What's going on there?
No, it will be up to the stewards to what happened with Smokey, I think. Because it was a little bit too far in my opinion, but again, it's up to the stewards. But yeah, we still got a final sector to go, and winner is his penalty. Looks like Felix has got this in the bag, but we will see. We've seen Smokey bottle it from the lead, so anything can happen. But let's just hope that Felix does not do so, as he's driven pretty much an outstanding race. A driver that I was not expecting to win this race. Please don't weave now. You may lose the win from here. There we go. He's going across the final corner. Felix Renner, LLR, wins in Singapore. And I have to say, my drive of the day so far, he has driven superbly right now. As Izza in second place. Blizzard in third. Smokey in fourth. Nikosos in fifth. Jerome up to the line in P6. And then we got a battle of the Williams boys coming towards the line. We got Ben and Roger, who's going to get it. It was Ben by 1/10 of a second. And then we got Droftas, who's recovered to P9, I have to say. That is very good points for Esports Wales, even though they would wanted more points for that. Now 10, because AJ from ERT has just pipped it. J. Cole in 11th. And we're just waiting for the likes of Connor, Mick, Jazz, Dylan, Harry and Wuhan to cross the line.
Wow, that was quite an ending. I thought the race was winding down, but Smokey, just one mistake off of turn 9 and that opened things up, and we had a 5-car fight for the lead, which in the end was won by Felix One, who in the end simply won the race by making the least mistakes, and that was how the win was made. He wins it for NLR Esports, and yeah, what a way to win that was, after looking, as you said, like an unlikely winner. In the end, it shows that in Grand Prix racing you cannot count anything else, and we have anything out. Sorry, we have another new race winner. Connor gets driver of the day. I'm not sure actually who I would award to driver of the day, because so much happened at the end of that race. But yeah, I said this with Australia, and I'll say this even more emphatically with Singapore. Singapore certainly delivered.
It definitely did. And I have to say, Singapore always delivers in 24 hour of F1, because every time I seem to commentate on Singapore, it's always a good one. So yeah, we should have Singapore every 24 hour of F1 stream, and if anyone tries to get rid of it, then screw you. I was going to say another word, but I'm not swearing on stream. So here we go then. There's your results on screen. So J. Cole could do a bit of a screenshot for us. Felix in first. We've got Izza, Blizzard, Smokey, Nikosos, Jerome, then Roger, AJ, Droftas, J. Cole, Connor, Mick, Terasmisma, I don't even know what, I can't pronounce it. Dylan, Wuhan, Harry in 17th, Reskeeper in 18th, Charlie Harris in 19th, and your early retirement, unfortunately, belongs to QRT Ryan, so QRT will not be scoring any points in this race. Any final thoughts before we go on for a little bit of a break?
Well, I'm just going to say I'm exhausted, and I've still got another race to commentate on, so
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Glad that one, though, from an organisational standpoint, actually went very smoothly, so
yes.
Good job to that, and hopefully that sets the tone for the rest of the event.
I hope so. I think in the night time it'll probably be, a lot easier, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I believe I'm just trying to see who's joining you next. Yeah, J. Cole is joining you next, and he's in the next 2 hours as well. So he's joining you for the next race at Belgium, and then he's being joined by Ivan and Mike for the Netherlands. So those are your next 2 races coming up. You won't see me in the commentary box until Abu Dhabi at 9:35 tomorrow morning, but we'll see how I am, because my voice will probably still be dead for me staying up a little bit. But yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this part of the stream. Anyway, I'll leave you in the capable hands of J. Cole to take us on a little bit of a break whilst we get A, the commentator switch round, and B, the next lobby being set up, which hopefully it won't be very long, because Singapore didn't take us very long as well. So thank you for watching. We will see in a few moments for the Belgian Grand Prix with Daniel and J. Cole. We'll see you soon.